Today's gonna be great. Today is July 21st, and that means that Oppenheimer and the Barbie movie are out in theaters, and we're gonna go see both. The theater that I am going to... Oh my god. The theater that I'm going to is only showing Oppenheimer as its IMAX version. Whether or not I'll be able to tell the difference is a problem for later, but it did sting a little when I paid. Christopher Nolan reached into my wallet and stole $25 from me. Christopher Nolan robbed me. Cillian Murphy reached into my bag like I was mugged. So that's at 2 p.m. and the plan is popcorn, a small drink, because I don't want to piss myself during this long-ass movie, and maybe a candy. We'll see. And Oppenheimer is 3 hours long. So I'll get out of the theater around 5 p.m. And then I'm going to get something to eat to sustain and thank my body for all that it does for me. And Barbie is at 6:40, and I'm meeting up with a friend who will have no choice but to deal with my post-Oppenheimer self, whatever that may be. I could be, really emotional, tears. I could be delirious, rolling around the ground, climbing up the walls and chewing the carpeted theater walls, knocking a theater star-shaped sconce off the wall, stealing the projector, reciting the Oppenheimer speech by heart. So they're gonna have to deal with that. I might do popcorn again. That's a big might. I might not. I might be popcorned out. My friend also had dental surgery not that long ago, so I feel like eating popcorn in their face, that might be what a mean friend does, but popcorn is so good. Movie theater popcorn, about 2 years ago, during the height of the pandemic, all I craved movie theater popcorn, that icky butter that they put on. I'm like, give me a cup of that. Not to put on the popcorn, but to just chug. I'm definitely doing a candy to stay awake. I'm definitely doing a drink because I don't want to be dehydrated. And the Barbie movie is just under 2 hours long, I believe. And it's going to be the easier watch, I think. I also created a Barbenheimer bingo card. I'll link it below in the video description if you want to play along at home, or if you want to print one off and bring it along on all of your Barbenheimer adventures. I'll be going through my bingo results later in the video after I've seen the movies. Don't worry. But for now, I'll read off the squares for you. So we have uncomfy close-up, a character dies, crying, existential dread, bird's eye view, feet, inappropriate nostalgia, flashback, raising voice for no reason, everyone is hot, a singular F-bomb, chase scene, training montage, over-explaining, antagonist monologue, gun, ? And in parentheses I have Chekhov, practical effects, personal reality versus actual reality, boring, title card weird, I question my morals, product placement, jump scare, music too loud. And in case it has to be said, I only get the bingo stamp if it applies to both films. Everyone is hot. There's definitely going to be some existential dread in there. I have a feeling that might... I had to finish my makeup. For context, it's the next morning because last night I was very tired and I didn't want to talk about these movies. We talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But we didn't get into this.
The bingo.
When it was time to go to Oppenheimer, I did get a combo. So I got a popcorn and a drink and a little candy. The candy was very good.
What kind of candy?
It was a little sour candy.
Hell yeah.
And I put them in my popcorn. Like a freak. And then my drink was this big. So that was a little bit concerning. We're gonna go in order. Uncomfy close-up. Did Oppenheimer have an uncomfy close-up. Let me tell you, there was a lot of Cillian Murphy uncomfy close-ups of him not really crying, but more like looking not down, but like this. Other uncomfy close-up that I really remember, it's in a scene where he's not on trial, but he's being questioned. Basically, he's suspected as a communist. It also comes up that he was close with Jean, who is played by Florence Pugh, who's she's a communist. So this is like a problem because if he was romantically involved with a commie, spoiler alert, he's not a communist. So Cillian Murphy is sitting in the normal room where he's being questioned. It's like a small boardroom. And there's about 5 or 6 men questioning him. And then behind him is his wife, played by Emily Blunt. All of a sudden, when Cillian Murphy suddenly when Oppenheimer suddenly feels like really vulnerable about the questioning, he has to actually think about what it was like to cheat on his wife, basically. The camera pans, hits someone's back, so that's like, oh, change what's happening, yeah. Right? And then Cillian Murphy's naked, but the table blocks everything, right? This is not close up yet. And then all of a sudden, Florence Pugh, Jean, is on top of him, having sex with him. But Oppenheimer's not acting like he's having sex. He's acting like he's still in the meeting. Yeah. So it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of funny. Emily Blunt can see Florence Pugh, or can see Jean, because she's also imagining that betrayal once again, because now she has to hear about it again, but in front of, like, embarrassingly in front of these, like, men who could destroy their, like, lives and reputation. So she locks eyes with Florence Pugh, and it's an over-the-shoulder shot of Oppenheimer and then Jean looking at Florence Pugh while she's fucking Oppenheimer, and it's very close. Yeah. It was a little bit uncomfortable.
It was uncomfy?
Yeah. So did Barbie have uncomfy close-ups? They had close-ups, but I don't know if they were uncomfy. Oh. Like, there were some of Margot Robbie who plays Barbie, and it was quite close, but I felt like it was warranted because it's, like, the first time that Barbie is, like, crying and feels emotions, and she, like, acknowledges the tears. But there were some uncomfy close-ups where I'm like, I don't need to know what Ryan Gosling's face looks like that much. There was one where near the end of the movie, spoiler, she, like, realizes that she can be a real woman. Side profile of Margot Robbie's mouth, opening her mouth and breathing in. Bingo. Just kidding. That's not how that works. Next, a character dies. Now, in Oppenheimer, spoiler alert, a lot of people die. It's very serious, but do any individual characters... Oh yeah, no, never mind. Someone does die. It's done pretty well. It is really sad. In Barbie, I was talking to my friend about this, and I was like, I don't think anyone died. And they were like, yeah, well, Barbie gives up her Barbie life to then become human Barbie, to become Barbara. So she kind of like, yeah, because that's Barbie's real name.
I don't know why I didn't put that together.
Yeah, her name is Barbara. What, you don't like her name?
Just for some reason.
You don't like Barbie's name?
I kind of want to like a vastly different name, but it makes sense that it would be Barbara.
Her name is like, what?
Jacinda.
She's like, I can't be Barbie anymore. I have to be Jacinda. So Barbie, like, kind of like, as a concept, dies. But she doesn't, like, suffer a horrible death.
I would say that's a character, though.
Yeah, because it's not like she's like, I'm Barbara professionally. She's like, no, I'm a human now. Yeah. And this is like what I want. I want to have flesh. Yeah, a character dies.
A character does die.
Oh, are we gonna get each square?
Oh my God, are we gonna get a blackout?
Crying, yes.
Yeah.
If they didn't cry, I'd be like, what movie did you make? There's a lot of crying. There's Cillian Murphy crying, Emily Blunt crying, Florence Pugh crying. No Matt Damon crying.
Matt Damon does
Matt Damon does not cry. A lot of people cry in the Barbie movie. Barbie cries, Ken cries, human mom cries. Existential dread. Yes. Because he's building a giant nuclear bomb. And then Barbie, she does blatantly interrupt her dance party to ask everyone if anyone thinks about death. And then later on, after the party, she's laying in bed and she's like, good night, Barbie's totally not thinking about death anymore. And it's really funny. It's like a lot, like it's on the nose, but it is funny. Bird's eye view. There is bird's eye view in Barbie movie. I can't recall it in Oppenheimer. There's the camera's in the sky, but
like
it's
establishing shots.
But it's not. It's kind of like if bird's eye view was like this.
Yeah.
Like if the bird like if the bird doesn't have a camera on its stomach, but the bird is a bird and has eyes and looks down, then
No, that's
but it's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't a true bird's eye view, so we don't
get a bingo.
We don't get a bingo. This fucking sucks. Feet. Sorry, you were taking a sip. There were feet in Barbie, excessively so, but I can't recall if there were feet in Oppenheimer because there are 2 sex scenes, technically, where people are naked, and you can't see the feet in the first one. Cut off at the ankles. Nolan said the IMAX camera is so big, but it's gotta be filming their heads. Like, he said no. With the screen is so wide, but he could cut off at the ankle. And then there's a scene where they're naked and sitting in chairs across from each other, and they have their like legs crossed. And I do not recall a Cillian Murphy foot. He said, camera's too big. I want to see that space above his head. And I don't remember Florence Pugh's feet either.
This one surprises me.
If there are feet, like if I go back and rewatch it and there are feet, I'm gonna be really like upset that I didn't remember. I think I just stopped looking for it because the first sex scene, no feet, and I thought, oh, if there's no feet now, he's not gonna tempt us. So we don't get the bingo for feet.
When I watch it, I'll let you know if there's feet.
Yeah, you give me a call. Inappropriate nostalgia. For Oppenheimer, it wasn't like, look at that American flag go. I remember when, like, because I don't have those memories because I'm not American. Did I feel bad for the communists? Yes. So is that inappropriate? Deeply so. Yes. I don't think I was nostalgic for anything in Oppenheimer. I wasn't like, look at that housewife. I want that. Like, I don't think I desired anything that those people had or desired any of the ideas that they represent. In Barbie movie, did I feel inappropriate nostalgia? I felt nostalgic for Barbie because I played with Barbies. I don't think so.
Cool.
Yeah. No bingo.
No.
We say bingo every time. Yeah. We think the game is you get bingo if you get one. Flashback. There were flashbacks in Oppenheimer, technically, because Nolan is a freak and none of that shit was linear, and it took me a hot minute to understand what the fuck was present day. No. He's on trial. He's a child. He's 20 years old. He's a student. Building a bomb. When it was getting closer to the Trinity test, it was more linear, and then it would flash back to like Einstein or like Robert Downey Jr. And the black and white was interesting because some of the film is in black and white, and at first it's like clear which scenes are in black and white and which ones are not. The present day is in color, and then the black and white is what's more closer to us, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
But then it started getting jumbled because I think that reality of like being accused of being a communist and having your entire legacy fucked over becomes like immediate, and it was effective. So yeah, there was a lot of flashbacks. Yeah. Barbie surprisingly had a flashback as well because, spoiler, when Barbie is deciding she wants to be a human and she tries to think about what it's like to feel, she has all these like disjointed flashback memories, and it's just footage of what looks like, you know, when you're a kid and your parent films you with one of these where there's a strap and it's like home video stuff. It's like that of kids playing with Barbies, and it's really beautifully edited. And Billie Eilish's song plays, which is like a really beautiful song. It like fit the scene. So she like technically has a flashback of what it's like to be played with as a toy and be a part of someone's childhood, but also it's like bigger picture, like what is it like to be a child and
that's really cool.
Have a toy you care about that's like shapes your like life.
Yeah.
So it was like a flashback.
Yeah, that's cool.
Raising voice for no reason.
Oh yeah.
Matt Damon. I get he's like American Sergeant, I love my country. How dare you? He just yells a lot. And then Robert Downey Jr. starts yelling. It was just, he was yelling, and I was like, I know the stakes are high. I'm not saying he shouldn't be yelling, but was it for no reason? Possibly. I don't think Cillian Murphy raises his voice for no reason. Emily Blunt raises her voice, but she does at one point throw a glass at them. It's not funny. And yells. And I was like, oh, okay. Everyone calm down. Barbie movie. So Will Ferrell is in the movie. And that's all I'll say about that. So yeah, we can mark off yelling for no reason. Huh?
Everyone is hot.
Everyone is hot. Yeah, get your marker out. I'm not even going to talk about that. A singular F-bomb. Barbie movie had a singular F-bomb, but it was bleeped out with a Mattel logo. And my friend was saying that they thought it would have been weird if they said fuck. So it worked comedically. It didn't feel like they had to like censor themselves. It was like earned and it was funny. I think there are a few F-bombs in Oppenheimer, but they didn't stand out to me. But when they did say fuck, it took me aback. Like, they didn't swear that much. I don't know if we get this bingo because there was more than one F-bomb.
A singular F-bomb.
So we don't get, because Oppenheimer, they might have said fuck twice, so.
I mean, Oppenheimer is about a singular fucking bomb.
Chase scene. There was one in Barbie. She's in the car being chased by Will Ferrell and a bunch of Mattel employees dressed in suits. Oppenheimer doesn't have a chase scene because it's not really an action movie. Unless you consider Robert Downey Jr. walking very quickly towards Einstein. And he's like so old and smart. I was telling you this last night, but that shit made me laugh. It was really well done. Like, he looked like Einstein, but it's like a cartoon person. Like, that was a real person. Not even that long ago.
Yeah, but he's so mythical now.
You're not a real guy who like does things like throws rocks in a pond and like the wind pushes your hat away and you're like like it's like all of that is. So if that's considered a chase scene, because it was scary, I was like, Robert Downey Jr. is walking too fast at this old man. This old genius doesn't see him coming. He's too busy talking to Cillian Murphy. Wait. Hold on. And he's like, can't wait to talk to Einstein. Like, fucking wait a second. How dare you? Theory of relativity. I'm like, stop it. Stop walking so fast. Stop. Not really a chase scene. Unfortunately. Free space.
Hell yeah.
Great. Training montage. Like, if you consider Cillian Murphy running back and forth in a classroom doing math and being like, this is how we'll build the bomb. They didn't explain the physics very well. I didn't expect them to, but I was so lost when they would say sciencey math shit. Like, I don't know, it's not. He's like doing this and they're building the bomb. There was like a time lapse, kind of like a literal time lapse, but to show the quick progression of the building of the Trinity test bomb.
If they're doing like a lot of math over and over again, I think that would count as like a training montage. Just not in like a physical sense, but it's
loosely it was a training montage. In Barbie movie, there's a scene where they where the Barbies like figure out how to take back Barbie Land from the Kens, who have created a horse and beer kingdom of men. But I don't think that's a training montage. It's more like the part of the movie where they're like, okay, this is the plan.
When Ryan Gosling sings, is that like part like a montage thing, or is it just...
It's a montage. It goes on for a while. He's like singing on the beach while the Kens fight. He's singing in a giant studio space with pink and blue lights. Not training for anything.
Okay.
And the Kens don't like train to take over Barbie Land. It just kind of happens overnight. I don't think we get training montage. Very sad. Over-explaining. So as I said, Matt Damon is in. I'm kidding. I recognize that they would need to explain some of what they're doing, but I think some of the visuals were strong enough in Oppenheimer to make it clear that we're building a school, a church, a hospital. Los Alamos, I think it was called. The ranch where they eventually build the bombs that end the war.
Yeah, heavy quotes.
I would have preferred more explaining when they were talking about how the bomb works. I feel like they cut away from that because I think they worried the audience isn't going to think that's interesting. There was some over-explaining in regards to what could have been. Just show us.
I mean,
just show.
If like there's dialogue explaining than a visuals explaining, I think that's over-explaining.
It was a little redundant, yeah. In Barbie movies, they're over-explaining. Like, yeah, because you understand how the world works pretty quickly because the production design is really strong and it's comedic and all the performers are doing a great job. Like, there was a narrator in Barbie and I wanted her to stop it, like stop talking.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, in Barbie Land, the women rule. I'm like, I know, this is women. Yeah. And it was the same issue where I'm like, you're showing us already. You're showing me that Margot Robbie is having a great time. you don't need to tell me, like, everything is perfect in Barbie. I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
I know. Antagonist monologue, surprisingly in Oppenheimer, yes. Because the true antagonist of Oppenheimer would probably be the war. But there is a Robert Downey Jr. antagonist monologue. You don't think he's going to become an antagonist. There's a part, it's all filmed in black and white, and he's in his office and he's like, how could he? It's kind of funny. It's not. Where he kind of credits like the beginning of their enemy status as when Oppenheimer could have introduced him to Einstein better, and Einstein doesn't really make eye contact with
Strauss.
Yes. Yeah, his last name is Strauss. At one point, Cillian Murphy's like, Strauss, and then Robert Downey Jr. goes, no, call me Strauss. I'm like, you said the same thing. You pronounced it the same way. That didn't sound different. He's like chasing Einstein. And then Einstein kind of looks away weird because he assumes that Oppenheimer told something weird to Einstein about Strauss, and he's like takes that very personally. So he has this whole scene in his office when he realizes that the general public would eventually find out that he's kind of trying to frame Oppenheimer for being a commie, and that would end his like political career. So he's like yelling, and it's a lot, and his assistant is like, well, maybe, just maybe, that Oppenheimer and Einstein had more important things to talk about than you. And it's like bam, 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 bam. And I was like, all of the film bros guffawing. Well, they didn't because everyone was respectful and quiet, but internally guffawing. There is an antagonist monologue in Barbie movie because Will Ferrell is in it. So, and spoiler alert, Ryan Gosling's Ken does become kind of an evil guy. He kind of resents Barbie for not being his casual distance but serious girlfriend. That's like what he calls her. He turns Barbie Land into Kendom for a hot second there. So he does become a little bit evil. It's a lot. He also steals her house from her and turns it into like a man cave. It's very sad. I felt very bad for Margot Robbie in that moment. It's okay, she gets it back. Next is gun ? There were no guns in Oppenheimer. Is there a Chekhov gun? But not really.
Yeah. Okay.
Not as a narrative device, I don't think.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think that you were meant to be like, maybe he doesn't build the bomb. Like, you know. In Barbie movie, I don't think there was one. I guess the Birkenstock. There's no gun, by the way.
Yeah.
She, like, is offered, it's like red pill, blue pill, like, a Matrix joke. There's a lot of references to other film tropes, which is really funny. The beginning is, like, mocking, well, or, like, maybe paying homage to 2001, which is really funny. It worked. The trailer didn't work, but in the film it worked.
Oh, okay.
In the film it made sense.
Yeah.
And it was funny. She's told, like, do you want to stay in Barbie Land? And there's, like, a pink high heel. Or do you want to go to the real world? And there's, like, a ratty old brown Birkenstock. And then later in the film, when Barbie becomes a human person, she's wearing pink Birkenstocks.
Or foreshadowing, I guess.
Yeah. It was not a Chekhov gun.
Yeah.
And no, Barbie does not hold a semi-automatic. Practical effects. I don't know why I put this on here. Like, yes, the fire is real. They don't use a real bomb. There's a lot of, like, lighting practical effects that I thought was, like, really theatrical and really, really effective, where it could have been animated and it could have been this whole green sequence, whatever, but it was, like, really basic in Oppenheimer, and I thought that was really, really bare bones effective. And Barbie movie, you can tell that some of it was green screened, but there was this really clear transition between Barbie and Ken are on their way to real world. They're going to Malibu Beach. They're rollerblading on a sidewalk, and behind them is what looks like a cardboard cutout. You know when you're like a kid and you do a play, and the background is just these big cardboard cutout pieces that can roll away. So they're rollerblading, and that's behind them. And then as the slope of the hill disappears, they rollerblade into real world, and that cardboard cutout is on the set of Malibu Beach. Like, it is there. It's not like it's superimposed animated.
Yeah.
Like, you can see that there's a sequence where, you know, they're on a soundstage and they're filming that, and then they transition into, and that's all, like, real and practical. And I thought it was really
cool.
And then when they return to Barbie Land, like, you can see the beginning of the slope come into frame and they roll into it.
That's cool.
And it was, I was like, oh, that was, like, genuinely really impressive and, like, cool. Personal reality versus actual reality. There's the personal reality that Oppenheimer lives in, which is that this naivete that maybe he doesn't think that the bombs would be in the wrong hands. Like, he's aware that this is a serious thing, but he is struck with the gravity of war and the loss of war and the like extreme violence of nuclear weapons. I think he maybe, just like anyone in that situation, was not prepared. So I don't know if that would technically be categorized. I don't think like he was ever a character who was disillusioned.
Yeah.
In Barbie, yes, because both Barbie and Ken and all of the Barbies and even the human characters in the movie experience what is the childlike wonder of Barbie and the innocence of Barbie, and then the reality of feminism and capitalism and how the world works. At one point, Barbie approaches a group of like basically like junior high or high school kids, and she's like, "You don't play with Barbie anymore?" And they're like, "Ew, no, what? Gross, ew." And she's like, "What?" And then they call Barbie a fascist. They're like, "You're a fascist." And she's like, "What?" And she runs away and cries. I should have put fascism on here because both characters are accused of fascism.
Damn it.
I fucked up. Yeah. Boring. So, Oppenheimer didn't feel long. It's 3 hours long. It didn't feel long, surprisingly. Were there parts where I was bored? Yeah, because I didn't know what was happening. Like, there was a lot of, like, political jargon and talk. It took me a minute to figure out what Robert Downey Jr.'s character's motives were. So there was a lot of, well, you see, if we put the bomb here, then this is what will happen. But no, we can't do that. And well, you see, well, this is what's going to happen. Well, no, and did you know that if we bomb this place, that this will happen? And I was like, stop. I just want to see the scientists. Like, is that so wrong? I know it's deeply embedded in politics. Like, it can't be separated. These things are intertwined forever. But I really like the parts where the scientists were doing their science thing and getting excited about science and felt like they were building something great. But the actual politicians and the actual like people of power sitting down and fucking pointing at maps and pointing and being racist and shit, I was like, I'm a little bit bored. Those were also scenes that didn't have Cillian Murphy on screen. So we live and we learn. There were parts with Will Ferrell where I was like, he's ad-libbing, he's off script, possibly, or this part of the script isn't funny. Like, I'm bored. Like, he was like the CEO of Mattel. He was basically the businessman character from Lego Movie that he previously has played. Just a guy in a tie in a high-rise building. I think he thought it was giving, and it was not giving, and I was bored. Title card, weird. Oppenheimer's title card was at the end of the movie, so yes, it was weird. Barbie, the title wasn't weird, it was just like in the clouds. I thought we were gonna fly through the title, like how Harry Potter does that. I was like, yeah, give me one of those horrendous zoom in things where the title becomes like a physical object in the sky in their world.
Yeah.
Which is so funny to think about, but it wasn't weird. What did I just chewed on Ice Cube the whole movie? Video?
Go for it.
No. I surprise, I'm not super into nuclear weapons. I think they're bad. I didn't go into this movie ready to think that the atomic bomb was cinematic, okay? So in the Trinity sequence, and I'm not going to get into it in details because it is a really stunning scene, let's just say that I held my breath the way that I think filmmakers want audiences to hold their breath. I had a day at the cinema during the Trinity sequence, and I did question my morals near the end because they don't show the cloud in full until after it's mostly evaporated. And I thought, oh yeah, they're looking at a mushroom cloud. They're looking at a bomb. And it makes sense that that scene would want you to understand how exciting that would be for the scientists who are viewing this like first test. And I think it's really effective. It's like really, really effective, and maybe not making the audience think that nuclear war is like fucking awesome, but to understand where all of those characters were coming from and maybe what they were experiencing was like somewhat beautiful, because all of their hard work is suddenly like real. So that scene is very effective, and that's all I'll say about that. later in the film, like it becomes clear that Oppenheimer was taken advantage of and that he didn't get to decide what happened to the bombs once he created them, even though he was like aware that they were going to be used to effectively possibly end the war. So I did question my morals a little because I felt bad for this person who still knew he was creating a weapon and no longer studying black holes and stars. But that's all very loaded.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, Clay, you're a bad person. And I'm not like suddenly, thinking, oh my god, no, it's really cool that they did that. But I did question for Barbie movie, no. Because I know what Barbie is. I'm not like, wait, that's not what a woman looks like? I'm sad. I really wanted Barbie to make me question my morals. Oh, no, I did, because I thought Ken was cool the whole time, but he like becomes a dick.
Oh yeah, you said he's like an incel kind of guy.
Yeah, he becomes a little bit of a... He kind of thinks Barbie owes him one. Look how sad he is. Like, so... Yeah, I guess I did question my morals.
That's a check.
Yeah, we can check that off. Product placement. So, in Oppenheimer, I cannot recall any product placement.
Like no discernible brands?
I don't think so. There's, like, they drank alcohol, but it's not, like, a famous brand of anything from that time. Their cars are old, but you don't really see, like, the hood of the car, the brand, and if it didn't, if there was that, it didn't stand out to me.
Yeah.
Is the American flag a product? That might not be something I'm equipped to answer, because I know the answer, but I don't think.
Well, yeah, even like the American military.
Yeah, is the military a product that is placed, but there wasn't any, like, Pepsi. There wasn't any, like, A&W.
Yeah.
But there was the military. Yeah. Yeah. And then Barbie movie, yeah, because there's a part that looks like a car commercial. It was a little bit jarring. Yeah. So we can check off product placement.
Do we want to acknowledge that that's a bingo right now, or at the end?
That is a bingo. We can acknowledge that now. Okay. A bingo.
We got a bingo.
The free space helped us. Well, I guess the free space can help us
in a lot of ways.
A lot of ways. I don't know how bingo works. If we didn't get a bingo, I'd be so jump scare. Did I go in my seat when the bomb sound suddenly hit? Because it's all, you know how sound works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went, because it was really loud. Christopher Nolan said, hear it now. And also some of those close-ups of Cillian Murphy being like, jump scary. Barbie movie, I initially didn't recall a jump scare, and then my friend said, no, because of Weird Barbie. So when you meet Kate McKinnon's character, she like jumps out, and she's like, hey! Kate McKinnon's Weird Barbie is weird. I liked her character a lot. Yeah. I thought she was like genuinely funny. And that's a comedian who I'm like, yeah, you can riff a bit. Because you're not obnoxious, you're just funny. We can check out jump scare. The last one is music too loud. Now, I want you to tell me if you think that the music in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer was too loud.
Haven't seen it, probably is too loud. I know he has a tendency of drowning out dialogue.
So, I don't know, when Oppenheimer's like, wonder if we should build a bomb, do you think I should be able to fucking hear him? Do you think I need to be told that that's a serious statement? Through this dramatic fucking... There were parts where the music, I felt, was earned, the sound design made sense, it was very interesting. Overall, it was good, like, don't get me wrong. And there were parts where I'm like, I know it's grandiose. It's a giant fucking bomb. Yeah, the music was too loud a lot, and it was overbearing a lot. Barbie movie is one of those movies that is like a soundtrack movie.
Oh, yeah.
I think you would have hated that. There were a lot of songs, and some of them, I was like, no, stop. The one at the beginning where it's like, hey Barbie, what's up? Hey Barbie, your life's great. And then later on, when her morning isn't good, hey Barbie, death. Like, that was funny.
Yeah.
There was just songs, and they were loud. My friend acknowledged, too, in the theater. They were like, why does it have to be so loud? Do we get another bingo? No, because there was no bird's eye view.
No bird's eye view, title card wasn't weird for Barbie.
Well, we got one bingo. I also wrote notes on my phone last minute if I forgot anything. Oh, Ken's hair, like Ryan Gosling's hair, is so white blonde, it's scary.
Jump scare?
Yeah, that was also a jump scare. His eyes are like
Yeah.
Does Matt Damon like the military in real life? That's not important. That's not... Was I tired? After, yes. Do I wish I had more of a break in between? Because I had about an hour and a half in between the films. I think so. I just got a Tim Hortons cream cheese bagel and put that in my face and chugged a coffee. And then I didn't have popcorn for Barbie movie because I was like, enough of that. 2 popcorns in one day. The allure of a popcorn, the nostalgia of a popcorn gets me more than the actual taste of that dried styrofoam corn. Do you think you're gonna see the movies?
Not back to back, but probably.
Why not?